Hello and welcome to this tutorial. Today I'm going to be showing you how to the basics really of using the Kinect system in XNA. I noticed that there was a lot of demonstrations on YouTube, but I didn't really find any tutorials, and I thought it would be a good idea to make one. So first things first, you're going to need to install the XNA SDK, as well as the Kinect SDK and the Kinect Toolkit, just in case you want to play around, and there's some good samples there. The links for all of those will be provided in the description, so make sure you download them and install them. I'm going to be using Visual Studio 2010. You can use Visual Studio 2008. I believe it'll work just fine. But yeah, so let's get started. This is part one. I'll show you how to set up the Kinect sensor as well as initialize it, and we'll display a like an image directly from the camera feed of the Kinect. So we're not actually going to do depth or skeleton just yet. So let's get started. Let's create a new project, XNA Game Studio 4. We're going to want a Windows game. Let's name it something like XNA Kinect Tutorial. And give it a second. There we go. So let's pop open our references and click Add Reference. Go over to .NET, and here I suggest you sort it by name, but it's loading right now. So let's give it a second. And there we are. So I've sorted them by name. Now let's scroll down and find Microsoft.Kinect. Oh, there it is. And hit OK. It'll add your reference over there. Okay, so let's make a new class, and this is going to be our class that's responsible for doing all of our Kinect stuff. So add class. We'll name it Kinect Manager. So this class is going to do everything to do with the Kinect. It's going to initialize it, and it's going to provide our game with all the data we need. Now I'm going to try to keep this as basic as possible. So I know XNA has drawable components and things you can use to make this a little more organized, but this is just a very basic introduction. So first let's add a using statement. So Microsoft.Kinect. And we'll make our first method, which is going to be initialize the Kinect. Actually, we'll make it return a string. And this is because, actually one more thing we're going to do is add a public variable called game1, game, as well as Kinect sensor Kinect. Now, initialize Kinect is going to set up the Kinect. It's going to connect to the Kinect, and it's going to start up all the sensors and the cameras that we need. So we're going to the Kinect sensor variable is the variable that lets us interact with the Kinect, and we're going to initialize it in a second. Let's make a constructor too. Don't want to forget that. We don't particularly need it at the moment, but it will help. Oops. Okay. So we're returning a string because in case we encounter an error initializing the Kinect, we're going to want to return this error. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to check if there's a Kinect sensor connected. So the Kinect sensor has a couple static methods like Kinect sensors, and you can because you can potentially interface with multiple sensors, but we're not going to. Oops. My apologies for that. Okay, next we are going to initialize our sensor. So we're going to simply retrieve the first sensor in the array by doing that. Next, we're going to, for now, we're going to only be interested in the color stream. So the Kinect has 3 different streams. It has a color stream, a depth stream, and a skeleton stream. And each of these provide data about the color. So coming off of directly from the Kinect's webcam, the depth, which is the infrared sensor, and the skeleton, which is the Kinect's built-in skeleton tracking algorithm. So we're going to enable the color stream first. Color stream dot enable, and here you can say the image format of the color stream, and I'm just going to show you that you have options here. So you have all the different types of color stream you can use. So keep in mind that if you use a higher resolution, such as 1280 by 960, your FPS will be only 12. For the purpose of this tutorial, we're just going to use the RGB resolution 640 by 480, so we get a nice 30 FPS, so the image is smooth. Yeah. Next, we're going to add a color frame ready event, and this is when the Kinect has color data ready for us to work with. So I'll just have Visual Studio generate the method by hitting tab twice after I type in plus equals. And that's pretty much it for the initialization. All we have to do now is just start our Kinect. So we go start. Now, oops. Keep in mind that we'll be adding other things in the next tutorials to these methods. And lastly, return nothing because there are no errors encountered. So next we're going to want to start working with the color frame data. Now to store it, we're going to need a color array. So let's store it. Color array. It's going to start complaining about it. You're gonna need to add this using color array latest color data. Let's name it that, and this will contain all the latest data that we've received. Let's also make a texture, which is gonna also import texture 2D specifically, color image, and this is going to contain the actual image. Import the using there, Microsoft.xna.framework.graphics. Okay, so let's do our frame ready event. For this, we're going to retrieve the frame from the Kinect. We're going to make sure that the frame is not empty and that it's valid. And then we're going to copy it over into our color array. And after, in our draw statement, or in our draw method, sorry, we are going to generate the texture and draw the image. So let's start with the frame first. So color image frame equals e dot open color image frame. Oh, and one more thing here, where you do dot color frame ready, you can also potentially do mconnect dot all frames ready, and this way you won't have to have 3 separate functions. But just for the sake of the tutorial, I want to show you how to deal with each one separately, and because we're not using all 3 at the moment, we're just going to use 3 different methods when we get there. So for now, just worry about the color frame. So now we need to verify the frame. So if the Kinect, for whatever reason, and this can happen, gives us an empty frame, we're going to want to not do anything with it. And today I cannot type, so just forget it. Now let's get the pixel data out of the frame. So the pixel data comes as a byte array. So we'll take the byte array, pixel data equals new byte array frame dot. Now you see it says copy pixel data 2. We're going to use that in a second. But there's also pixel data length, and that's how long we want our array to be. And now we do frame dot copy pixel data 2, as I just said, and to our array. Look at that. Next, we're going to want to transfer it over to our color data array that we made at the top of the method. So mlatest color data equals new when you want to make a new array, and its length is going to be pixel data divided by 4. Now why 4? And the reason is that the Kinect returns, oops, this should be pixel data.length. The reason is because when you copy pixel data to pixel data, so this byte array will contain 4 bytes per pixel, red, green, blue, and I can't remember what the last one is at the moment, but the last one we don't actually use. We need the red, green, and blue, which, by the way, are stored as blue, green, red, I believe. So we're going to have to reverse that a little bit later. But we'll get to that. Now we'll start transferring it over into colors with a for loop. So this is going to be quite simple. We're going to go through every single pixel in our array, and we're going to copy it over with the 3 bytes, just like so. So we're going to set mlatest color data at I to equal a new color, and the not a new character, we don't need that. A new color, and we're going to take red, because remember it's green, or blue, green, red. So we're going to take, but the color accepts red, green, blue. So we're going to take the offset plus 2, pixel data offset plus 1, so that's green, and pixel data offset so this will copy the 3 bytes going from red, green, blue, so but backwards, so going blue, because it's stored as blue, green, red, as I said previously. And now we're going to increment our offset so that we can get the next pixel successfully. Next, we're going to get rid of our frame because we're done with it. So dispose, and this is just to clear up the memory and allow us to continue our application. Okay, now what we're going to do is we're going to draw our image. So let's go public void draw color image, and this is going to be we're going to need a sprite batch. We're going to need a graphics device to generate our texture, and we're going to need the bounds in which we're going to draw. Okay, so first we're going to want to make sure that there is something to draw. So we're going to check that latest color data has been initialized. We're going to make a new texture. There we go. With our graphics device, not our decimal. We're going to make it with our graphics device. We're going to give it the width of 640 by 480. Now, ideally this should be stored in a variable in case you're going to change this, but since we know that it's going to be a constant 640 by 480, then we'll put 640 by 480 here. Next, we're going to have to make our texture. This is the easy part because we just simply call set data as color, because that's what we're giving it, and pass it our array. And now we're going to draw the texture. Draw. Okay, there we go. Next, we're going to go into game 1, and we're going to make a Kinect manager. Sorry, my typing sucks today. We're going to initialize it. Actually, I'm going to do this in initialize because I don't think I should do it in the constructor. We're also going to change the size of our window to 640 by 480. This is just so that it looks nicer and we don't have any scaling, and we don't have any problems later on. Right, and don't forget to apply your changes. Next, we're going to initialize the Kinect manager. Now, for the moment, I'm not really going to do anything with the error, but I'm simply going to write it to the console. Ideally, you would probably want to display it to the user, you know, do something with it. Okay, so don't need this. Jesus, so many unnecessary methods. All right. Under draw, we're going to make a new sprite batch. I believe, yeah, it's already made one for us. We're going to begin it. Begin it? I don't know if you can say that. Then we're going to call end. But in between, we're going to call mConnectManager dot draw color image. We're going to give it our sprite batch. We're going to give it our graphics device. And we're going to make a new rectangle, which is going to be at 0, 0 and have our image width. Again, I'm hard coding this only because I know it's never going to change. Okay, and let's try running it. And it did not run. Now, the reason it did not run is because in all my infinite wisdom, I did not connect the Kinect to the computer. So, it just simply said no Kinect sensors detected. So after connecting it now, let's run it. And there you go. There's my arm. And I'm going to go into the camera view. I'm going to show you that the frame rate is very smooth. You might be able to see from here. So there you go. So that's part 1 of the tutorial. Next, we're going to do a depth frame where we're going to draw the depth sensor of the Kinect, like what it sees. It's going to look really cool. And then we're going to track our skeleton, and this is probably the most practical aspect of the Kinect, and personally my favorite feature. So I hope you enjoyed the tutorial, and thank you very much for watching. Yeah, have fun.